County, Oklahoma. Welcome to Pastors of Pain. We're a podcast. We're a radio show. I'm Father Brian O'Brien, joined by Father Kerry Wakulich. We are pastors. We are priests. We are Christians. And you will know we are Christians by our love.
Did you come down off the ceiling from last week? I thought I was going to have to do an exorcism.
It's okay. It's fine. It's all right. We're okay.
Well,
you know, I gave one of the best homilies I ever gave was at, there's been a few, but it was at Father Vince Fernandez's first Mass.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And my advice to Father Vince, as a brand new priest, I said, you know, there's a lot of things we get to do as a priest. We get to do this, we get to do this, we get to do this. And I said, really, just love your people. Just love your people.
Yeah.
If you love your people, then everything will take care of itself. Anyway, so that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Love my people.
Have you ever read Rule 62 of the Alcoholics Anonymous book?
I'm going to say that I haven't.
Oh, yeah. I've been reading AA books because I think they're really great.
They are good.
Things I've learned in the last couple.
I preach about the 12 steps from time to time.
Yeah, there's a Rule 62 in the recovery refers to the rule of don't take yourself too darn seriously. Here, you ready?
We're doing serious things though, man.
You ready? There's no Rule 61 and there's no Rule 63. But there's a Rule 62 and there's a whole history on it of like, don't take yourself so darn seriously because you burn out. Hey, I something else I learned. Have you ever heard about decommissioning tattoos?
I have not.
So I was on a plane coming back from Medjugorje this summer. We landed in Ireland, and this Dominican guy who's from somewhere up north near Donegal. The town of what's that town up north of here where Amy Gallegos is from? Kildare. And Kildare means like church next to the oak tree.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so he said, hey, what's that girl's name you were sitting next? No, it's English. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get my Lucky Charms accent. There it is. Hey, Father Kerry, what's the name of the girl you're sitting next to on the plane? Who's got the tats? I was like, and I said her name, and he goes, I wonder if she's ever got her tattoos decommissioned. I was like, decommissioned? And he's like, oh, yeah. Because in Ireland, people put a curse on the ink, and then they curse you. And so there's a decommissioning of the tattoos. So they're in the airport. We decommissioned this girl's tattoos. It was just like this quick prayer. Well, anyway.
It's like an exorcism for tattoos?
Yep. It's in the Deliverance book, Deliverance and Exorcism.
Is this what our show's about?
Nah, we're going to get to that. But anyway, so...
it can be.
No, you ready? So then recently, a student who got a tattoo, I don't know where the tattoo was then going to give blood, and I don't know where the giving of the blood was, whether it's the state of Oklahoma or someplace else. And the lady that was going to take her blood, who was interviewing her, said, do you know if ashes were used in the making of your tattoo? And she's like, I'm sorry, what kind of ashes? She goes, well, some people put cremains in the ink. And she was like she frightened. And the other lady basically asked her very casually.
Come on.
And she said, no. And she asked her a few more questions. She's like, okay, you can go. And then she went and gave blood. But apparently the question, it happens enough, or at least happened once, that this person who was taking this girl's blood asked her. So if you're out there and you're getting tats, you've been warned. Get your tattoos decommissioned.
Goodness.
I know some weird stuff, but this is the kind of weird stuff that goes on. Like someone came up with a pentagram on their shoulder the other day.
We do get weird. And we get calls.
Oh, bro, I'm wearing out my exorcism ritual book on Rob over here. You're welcome, Ponce. It's making your beard grow. I mean, your beard was stunted in growth, and then it just came out full flourish. Anyway, I'm glad you were done dancing on the ceiling, as Lionel Richie says last week. I thought I was going to have to start playing Dancing on the Ceiling.
No, it's fine.
Okay, good.
It's fine.
Good people of God. Now, hey.
Priests can get frustrated.
Yeah, that's great.
priests can get mad at themselves. They can get, even like at the people a little bit. It's not personal. It's because I care.
Yeah. Okay, great.
I don't like it when stuff is like awesome and then there's kind of a lackluster response.
No, we're going a direction today, and it's not exorcisms. It's not O'Brien dancing on the ceiling. It's not retreats.
I'm backing away from the ledge.
I know, but there's this song that goes on in endless joy of "To This Rock I'm Clinging," because the Lord is Lord of heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? This song goes on. I love that song because it was sung in a 4-part harmony, like barbershop quartet. And I love barbershop quartets. And it was just great music. And I've heard it like according to like bluegrass and stuff like that. Hello. Playing the jug and stuff like that. But those are not all the jug and the banjo are not instruments that are in the list of it's like Gregorian chant, a cappella, organ. We were discussing music the other day, and one of the cool things was it wasn't with you, it was with somebody else. But it was about like what music is supposed to do, and it's supposed to like why we don't have modern music in church, because like Life Church makes really good rock and roll music, and they do really great concerts. But like you can find all that music on the radio. And someone said, it was a girl said, well, I want to go to church to worship God. I don't want to feel like I'm in my car or I'm laying in bed listening to praise and worship music, because I can do all that at home. And I could go to concerts and I can see Need to Breathe and Matt Maher. And those are a lot better than any of the Catholic churches can do. I want you to lift me up and bring heaven down. I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. Get ready, buckle up. Anyway, so you wanted to talk about music today.
I do want to talk about music because beginning in October.
This is October.
I know. So beginning in October, we made some musical changes.
Oh, what?
Beginning that weekend of October 1st, September 30th, October 1st.
Whoa.
And this has kind of been a longer conversation between me and Father Healy and our choir director, who's Matt Cabine. And just reading through and studying the texts of the church.
Ooh.
And looking at our own, abilities to sing and the choir's ability. And we came to a point a few weeks ago,
a point of no return,
maybe 2 months ago, where we said, okay, we're ready to make. It's not a dramatic shift. I mean, the mass is the mass. But what does the church ask of us when it comes to singing? And Father Healy said something to me. He says things to me all the time, and I love him. I love that he's our associate pastor. He's very smart. He's very well read. He's very thoughtful. And we were having this discussion, and I was having trouble kind of like getting my head around. And Father Healy, I'll say this: Father Healy and Matt Cabine were kind of further along than I was. And part of my job as pastor is like to not go too far too fast. To not,
they're very, very musically inclined.
Yes. And they were kind of where they were ready to go. Director. I think they were ready for this 6 months ago or a year ago.
Okay,
and I wasn't, and I had to be, and I have to be like convinced. I have to be, and I've been accused over the years, of like not being a very good listener, and just sort of doing what I want to do. And I don't think that's true, but I take that as a valid criticism, and and so I really do. I try to, like, when we're going to make a decision, to kind of hear what does the church have to say, what do the parishioners have to say, kind of think it through. Anyway,
working genius.
We got to a point where we were ready to make some changes. So I'm reading through what is called the General Instruction of the Roman Missal,
the Germ,
also known as the Germ, and there's a whole section in here. You can look it up. If you just Google General Instruction of the Roman Missal, Missal, paragraph 39 is on the importance of singing. Oh, and this is what Father Healy said. He made the distinction. He said, what we want to help our people do And what we priests need to do is make a distinction between singing the Mass and singing at Mass.
Okay.
What most parishes do, and what we've done, frankly, we sing at Mass. We don't sing the Mass. And the Mass, in its, best form, highest form, is meant to be sung, especially on Sundays and holy days. And so we were kind of moving into what does that look like? Anyway, so here it is, the importance of singing. So this paragraph 39, the Christian faithful who come together as one in expectation of the Lord's coming are instructed by the Apostle Paul to sing together psalms, hymns, and spiritual canticles. Singing is the sign of the heart's joy.
Oh, okay.
Thus, St. Augustine says rightly, singing is for one who loves.
Oh.
And there is also an ancient proverb, whoever sings well prays twice. Great importance should therefore be attached to the use of singing in the celebration of the Mass, with due consideration for the culture of peoples and abilities of each liturgical assembly. So that has to be a factor. Although it is not always necessary to sing all the texts that are in principle meant to be sung, every care should be taken that singing by the ministers and people not be absent in celebrations that occur on Sundays and on holy days of obligation. Basically, the church is saying, hey, priests, hey, people, sing. Sing. Okay, so then I'm skipping down a little bit. And then it says this, paragraph 41. The main place should be given, all things being equal, to Gregorian chant.
Okay.
As being proper to the Roman liturgy. Other kinds of sacred music, in particular polyphony, are in no way excluded, provided that they correspond to the spirit of the liturgical action and that they foster the participation of all the faithful. So not just, I went to this Mass and there was this amazing choir and I just sat and listened to it, but that the people ought to be also singing. And then it says this, since the faithful from different countries come together ever more frequently, it is desirable that they know how to sing together at least some of the parts of the ordinary of the Mass in Latin.
Oh, yeah.
Especially
what number is that?
41.
Okay.
Especially the profession of faith and the Lord's Prayer according to the simpler settings. Okay, so we're not trying to bite off everything at once, but what you'll notice if you come to Mass at St. Francis Xavier, and the same is true at St. John's from what I've seen. I don't know that I've ever been there on a Sunday, but I've been there for holy days, or I've been there. Yeah, I went to your dedication Mass. Is on weekdays you're not going to hear a lot of singing.
Nope.
And on Sundays you're going to hear a lot more. And so what we are trying to do, Father Healy and I, is to sing more of the Mass, to sing the Mass. And so, for example, at the Sunday morning Masses, we start out by singing, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. The Lord be with you, and with your spirit. Okay? Right from the start. That's what we're doing. We're trying to sing more. And so what you're going to hear is more chant. What you're going to hear is more of the priests singing. And then what we are doing also is at the end of Mass, the closing hymn of Mass is the Marian hymn of the season. So every season, ordinary time, Advent,
Christmas, Easter,
Lent, there are these certain hymns that are sung in honor of the Blessed Virgin Mary, and we're closing Mass with those in Latin.
My favorite one is, I love it because it goes, Regina Caeli, and then the whole group says, Laetare, and it's like very strong.
So I made a couple sort of mandatory things on for our choir and for Matt is that if we're like in our little worship aids, our programs, I want it written. We're going to sing it in Latin, but I want it written in English.
It doesn't work singing it in English. It's so hard.
I mean, you can, but we're singing it in Latin. But I want people to know what they're singing.
Yeah,
I don't just want to sing Latin for Latin's sake. I think there's people out there who are like, "Ooh, Latin," and it's like, well, you don't even know what you're saying. So like, what is like why? I just anything Latin. Like really anything? No, we're not doing that. But hymns like the Salve Regina, Salve Regina, Mater. Okay,
Hail,
like
Holy
are
Queen,
things
Mother of Mercy. Are
hymns that every Catholic should know.
Yep. Okay.
Now, does it take a little time to learn? Yes, and I'm hoping. I mean, we're now a little bit into October. That people are going to get used to it. That people maybe even practice it at home. And what I'm picturing and what is going to be so beautiful, and here's the example I would use. So a year ago, we introduced at the end of Mass, as the Blessed Sacrament is being put back into the tabernacle, it's reposed, we would sing one little stanza, one little verse, which goes like this. O sacrament most holy. Okay?
Yep.
Well, the first couple of weeks we sang that, I started to have regrets. I mean, I really, as a pastor, like I kind of got cold feet. I was like, oh, maybe this was not a good idea. Because we didn't sing it very well. It's new. It's different. It's the tune, the tone, the speed. And I was like, oh boy, maybe we should pull this back. Well, these first couple of weeks where we've sang the Salve, I'm kind of like, all right, I can hear Matt, but like I'm not hearing like the voice, the people sort of singing it. And I talked to Matt about it, and Matt was like, patience, which is not exactly my.
Oh, I know. I've known you for 20 years.
Shut up, jerk. And anyway, so we're doing that. But what I am so excited about is like a parish event in the very near future where we have a dinner or we have some event, and at the end, with nobody with paper in front of them, and I say, to end, let's sing the Salve. And I intone it, or Healy intones it better than me, and off we go. And 100 people in the parish hall sing the Salve Regina, the Hail Holy Queen. I'm so excited for that. And then we're just going to have it in our heads, in our repertoire, and people will have it for the rest of their lives. So now people can do it at home. Now people can do it on their Sunday night dinners that they're having. Okay, let's have dinner as a family, and then we'll pray the Decade of the Rosary, and we'll end with the Salve. I really want that to happen. But it takes this like preparation up front. Anyway, that's kind of what we're doing. We're singing. We're trying to sing the Mass rather than just sing
at Mass.
We're using the organ more.
Oh, you haven't?
We've been using a lot of piano.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
and the piano is not bad. That's I want to be clear. Piano is allowed.
Yeah.
Piano is okay. But what the general instruction says is that the organ, the main place should be given. Here it is.
In
393. While the organ is to be accorded pride of place.
Whoa.
So in the hierarchy of instruments, the organ is number one. Other wind, stringed, or percussion instruments may be admitted into divine worship in the Diocese of the United States, according to long-standing local usage, insofar as these are truly suitable for sacred use, or can be made suitable.
No tambourines on that list?
It says percussion. Is that percussion?
That can be. What about finger cymbals?
I think those are called thimbles.
Thimbles. Hey, Madison Oman and I were, remember Madison Oman?
Uh-huh.
She-
I just texted her the other day.
Oh, great. Anyway, her and I were talking about like sacred music a while. I don't know when it was. But she said, you know what I love about the organ is it really brings you into the place of the church. Because people
you don't hear organs anywhere else.
Yeah. It's like you can't reproduce it anywhere. You can reproduce piano playing or guitar or drums or something like, because you may have those instruments. But no one has like, a $50 or a $500 or $100,000 organ just sitting in their house that they can turn on because they would be called disturbing the peace. That was a very insightful. She was just talking about just like musical instruments because she's well musically talented with a guitar. Yeah, I like this. I like this going.
So it's I'm excited about it.
I like the antiphons.
Yep.
Brennan Lacey has been increasing our quality of music at St. John over the years. We had Dominic, who's now up in Enid, yeah.
Yep.
And he's doing amazing stuff up there. And Brennan's even one of the cool things Brennan Lacey did is he started a cantor program with college students. So for a grade, he's getting a grade out of this in his conducting class, but he has to take somebody who has never had vocal lessons and turn them into a cantor. And it's really cool.
Really?
So he's got a little cantor school going on there where he trains college students so that when they graduate from college and they're out in their parishes, like some of the tough things that parishes have difficult finding is people who are brave enough to get up there and can read music and bolt out. So I think he's got like 8 students, like probably 4 and 4, 5 and 3 guys and girls, somewhere in that ballpark, that he's teaching them both chant and to use the entrance antiphons and to read chant music. And we're going to start. One of the things we're going to start doing is as we travel more internationally, of making sure students know the parts of the Mass in Latin, because you get to these big events and all of a sudden,
even at our cathedral or like bigger diocesan events, because there's diocesan events where in our little diocese here, multiple languages are used. So obviously English, so obviously Spanish, but we have a Vietnamese community, we have a Zomi, the Burmese.
Yeah.
Okay. We now have the Chukis in 2 places.
Oh, that's right. Father Samuel Perez is learning like some Samoan island language or South Pacific language.
Yep.
It's like, what?
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe some others in there somewhere.
Did you say Chukis?
Chukis.
And it's from like the Solomon Islands?
I think they're Micronesian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, when you put all those people together, really, you should have it in Latin. I mean, you might say, well, then nobody's going to understand it. Yeah. But at least the Mass parts that are in Latin. The bishop in Wichita, Bishop Carl Kemme, just in mid-September, he wrote a pastoral letter to his diocese about music. It's called "Let Us Sing with the Lord," and I want to read a little part.
That's Sing a New Church into Being. So
this is where it gets to when we get into music. What a lot of people who don't, and I'm not like ripping on people, but like who don't know the church's preference in terms of music. A lot of times our musical is the music, if you just ask yourself, is the music at my parish like good or bad? What we mean is, do I like it? And what's hard in a parish like ours, and we're not the biggest parish in the world, but we have 1,000 households, 1,043 to be exact. And within that, there is a wide variety, of preference. Anyway, this is what Bishop Kemme from Wichita said. He said, rather than entering into a discussion about which hymns may or may not be appropriate for use in Mass, a subjective judgment that too often relies on personal taste and preference, my humble guidance is to turn our attention toward the texts of the Mass, which the Church herself invites us to sing. For example, just as the Church proposes texts for us to sing for the responsorial psalm and Alleluia, we also have proper texts intended to be sung at the entrance, the offertory, and at the communion processions. So that's what you're going to hear more of here, is that those entrance, the entrance antiphon.
Oh, yeah.
The offertory, the communion antiphon. And what's nice about those is that the choir sings it, and then the people are meant to then sing it back. So it's not a hymn in that, it has four stanzas, or, it's this, the choir sings, and then the people repeat, and then the choir sings, and then the people repeat. So it's something that is easily, not easily, but it's something where there's actually meant to be more. When people are like, I want to participate more. It's that opportunity, using not a hymn that somebody wrote in a studio somewhere, but this words of Scripture that are given to us in the Mass.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah. So we'll see.
It's a big time.
We'll see how that goes. I think I'm most nervous about the recessional hymn and just how that will be received.
Yeah.
And then I think what'll be interesting is once we'll get the Salve down, and then it'll be Advent. And then we'll
Ave Regina Celorum, Ave Domina Angelorum.
So
I think that's the hardest one to sing, but it's really beautiful.
Yep.
Salve Radix,
so
Salve Porta.
I just want people to give it a chance, and not to like immediately like, well, it's Latin, so I don't want to do it, or it's a different language, so I don't want to do it, or it's not, it's not what I'm used to. I think that's where change. And I'm the first to say
Change.
Change can stink.
Yeah.
But last thing I'll just say for Bishop Kemi in his thing, he said, liturgical and sacred music can be a powerful instrument of evangelization because it gives people a glimpse of the beauty of heaven. And so think about music at your parish, mine and yours, and whoever you are listening. Like, does the music of your parish give you a glimpse of the beauty of heaven? And that's what we want.
Uh-huh.
That's what we want. And we're human beings, so we're going to do that, imperfectly. We're on this side of heaven. But that's what the Mass ought to be. It's where heaven and earth come together.
Yeah.
And so you come to Mass and get a little glimpse of what it's gonna be like.
Just this past week, I was telling you before this podcast that Dr. Haygood, who is at OSU's School of Performing Arts Music. Anyway, he's a brilliant professor, and he brought his cantamus group over. These girls are going to be traveling Europe, and they're practicing in our church, and then they're going to have a benefit concert because they have to pay their own way, I guess, through Europe as they travel. And it's also for their donors and stuff like that. But we had the doors. So there's the doors of the church, and he opened all those up, the three gates, the three big wooden doors, which then forced sound into the narthex, which then the sound came out the bell tower doors. There's those glass doors right there. And there was a group of students standing out there in the by the stairwell. So, and they heard these voices, and you could hear the sound travel through the church, bounce around in the narthex, and come out those doors. And you could see eyes light up, and people like, what is that in the church? You couldn't hear it from the church, like by the stairwell, those doors that come out, but the sound traveled right through the nave of the church and just boom, 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 bounced until it's found its way out. And it's like giving me goosebumps just like right now thinking about it, like how like Dr. Haygood can take these girls' voices and just make them like penetrate like ears, but really it makes the soul think about heaven. And that's why the arts are so important. But that's why music, beautiful music in the liturgy.
She who sings, prays twice. Yes.
Cantum bonum, who sings well, prays twice.
Yeah.
But it's just that beauty, like it gets into our ears and then it does exactly that. Heaven, baby.
Yeah. So let's be
life.
Let's be open to some of those musical changes and sing. Let's sing. Make a joyful noise
to the Lord. Peace.